Well, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, we've been encouraged up to this point. We've been challenged up to this point. We've been inspired up to this point. And I get the privilege of bringing in a growing friend and someone I respect very highly in the Lord for their work, for their engagement, for their cultural connection, and how they just bring people up when they speak, when they encourage. They're just bringing people up. And again, I appreciate him greatly. So I'm bringing to the stream right now, again, Pastor Jamal Bryant. God bless you, sir. I appreciate you today. Hope all is well. And thank you for being with us as we conclude the masterclass.
Man, I'm appreciative. I'm still looking for an umbrella from Dr. Samuel Chan, knock my socks off. That it don't rain until after you build it. I'm gonna run with that for a minute.
I'm telling you, it was such a blessing. Really quick, I know you've been you're always engaged in a lot.
Yeah.
You're always on the forefront of a lot. You're always, I mean, it just seems as if there's something to be had, then Pastor Jamal Bryant is right there, you know, helping make it happen and pushing what's happening. Just really quick, I know you're in Georgia. There's
Yeah.
there's so many key things happening in Georgia right now. Anything you want to lift out and push out right there before we kind of get into the meat and potatoes of today's session?
Yeah, no, the whole nation is got its mind on Georgia for this incredible election. I'm mindful that you're viewing from all over the country, yeah, the world. If you have any relatives, loved ones, classmates, fraternity, sorority who live in Georgia, please admonish them to please come out. January the 5th is early voting. We've got two senatorial races that could really flip the whole nation on its head in terms of seizing power. Reverend Raphael Warnock, John Ossoff. Those of you that can and will, ask that you'll please pray for us in that endeavor.
Awesome, awesome, and rightfully so, rightfully so, rightfully so. Ladies and gentlemen, where you are, as a matter of fact, wherever you are in the country, wherever you are in the world, go ahead and drop your city in the chat. Go ahead and drop your city in the chat. If you are an entrepreneur, go ahead and drop your business in the chat as well. So we're dropping your city, we're dropping your business right there in the chat. We've been provoking, stirring, and engaging Black business for the past 10 years. And this is an even greater season, an even greater window of opportunity, an even greater context for us to be pushing Black business, building Black business, creating Black ecosystems. The Black CEO Network will be launching January 1st, where we're bringing together Black people from across the country, Black CEOs who are managing $1 million enterprises. We're building that, and we've already have 16 Black CEOs committed to the Black CEO Network. And then we're launching the 6-digit masterclass, building Black people, helping them build 6-figure businesses on the side through systems, through ecosystem, and through funnel building. So listen, you want to be a part of what's happening. So the masterclass, Pastor Brian, has just been amazing. The last 2 days, I mean, we've talked about the 5 things every entrepreneur needs to know, the 5 questions every entrepreneur has to answer, building product system, building service systems, solving problems, income statements, balance sheets, pro formas. I mean, we last 2 days we've just been digging into it, and
Yeah.
and today we get the opportunity to sort of celebrate. We get the opportunity to be inspired and get pushed out there
Yep.
after we've heard a lot of information. So before we dig into what it is you're going to be sharing,
Yep.
talk for a moment about the importance, just from your standpoint, the importance of being inspired, because it's one thing to be informed, and we need informed entrepreneurs, professionals, Black people. It's one thing to be informed, but it's something else to be inspired, because inspiration gives the push. So just from your vantage point, and you're an expert in that area,
Yeah.
just talk about that for a moment, please.
Malcolm X said that the role of the conscience is to make the unconscious conscious. One of the critical things that you have to realize is that God whole bloodstream is built off of imagination. People absent of imagination will only have the capacity to work the assembly line but won't be able to manufacture. It is amazing that Elon Musk in Tesla has amassed, Marcus, $51 billion, where Ford Motor Company only did 5 billion. Ford is much larger, but they have lost imagination. You have to have enough imagination to dream. The reality is, America has given us the blueprint that crisis is only for creatives. I want you all to write that down. Crisis is only for creatives. And so it's in rough times, in strenuous times, that you're able to think and dream outside of the realm. I'm reading a book now about being a pirate. A pirate breaks the rules and then never makes new ones. Your responsibility of being inspired is realizing that the real art form is coloring outside of the lines. And so what it is that you all have been doing over the last couple of days has been information, but it won't do anything if you don't have inspiration. And so this is our responsibility to really help you to look at it through a different lens, through a different worldview. So I really, let me just say it another way, I consider myself not necessarily a preacher. I am, here's the word that was created in our generation that never existed in any other generation. I'm a spoken word artist. Shakespeare
Wow.
didn't even see himself as that.
Wow.
Is that, is that I am creating words using language for art. And so you've got to begin to think in terms of that. What is my muse? What is the thing that gives me the inspiration? And preachers who only find ideas through books will never make the connectivity with the masses. You've got to be an artist to know what is it that I can draw. One of my favorite artists is Prince. His last 3 albums tanked. And his albums tanked, Marcus, because Prince Rogers Nelson Jr. was guilty, I need you all to hear this, of only listening to his own music. He didn't listen to any other artists. And so because he only listened to his own music, his music started to sound the same. The reason why it is that we're in this room is that we've got to realize I've got to have iron to sharpen iron. I need to see somebody else's art form so that I'm able to illumine in a different kind of way.
Sir, now you've got my mind spinning right now because I'm thinking about Albert Einstein, who said that imagination is more important than knowledge.
That's
And
correct.
that's coming from someone who had an IQ in the top 5% that we've ever seen, and he's saying that imagination is more important than knowledge. It doesn't matter how much you know if you aren't willing to be creative, imaginative, inspiring with that information and with that knowledge. And even from a business standpoint, I'm thinking about back, there's a company that I knew of and had interactions with years ago, and the company was called Primerica. They're not sponsoring this broadcast, but I'm bringing it up because the gentleman who founded Primerica was able to build an army of over 100,000 insurance agents by inspiration. I mean, he was able to tell a story and mobilize hundreds of thousands of agents to build a company that Citigroup says, hey, I'll pay you $1 billion for this company. Listen, I'll pay you $1 billion to give it to me, and my point in that is they were informed about insurance and financial services, but it was the inspiration, it was the imagination, it was the energy that built that movement. And a lot of times people don't realize they're trying to build a movement off the left brain. You don't build a movement off the left brain. You build the logic, you build the infrastructure, you build the foundation off the left brain, but you build the momentum off the right brain, the creative, the inspiring, the momentum. And certainly you know a lot about the left brain and the right brain, but Pastor, please go ahead.
Okay, so I want to do something different if I can in this last master class. What is the gentleman's name who came on right after the countdown?
Alan.
Alan. Can we bring Alan back in? Is there a way we can do that?
Yes, we can. I'll tell Alan to come on. Yeah, we can. He'll be in 2 minutes. No problem. 2 minutes.
Okay.
Less than 2 minutes, actually.
Yes, I want to do something for you on the master class. outside of you all's attempt at the round table that I understand went a whole nother way, is I want to follow a different kind of model that I think is so important for creatives and for innovators, is finding a circle by which you can get other people in to buy in on what your idea is. I am in Atlanta, Georgia, and most people know the civil rights movement from Dr. King. But what they don't realize is that Dr. King was the speaker, he was not the strategist. So he had to have Rayard Buston, he had to have Andrew Young, he had to have Joseph Lowry, and they let him stay at the Lorraine Motel while they went and did the work. Nobody ever talks about that. The March on Washington was not Dr. King's event. He was just a speaker. You got to have friends who bring something to the table that is different from your gifting, that will know how to accentuate your talent without being threatened with their responsibility. Something amazing happened with Dr. Chan's presentation. I was sending him a telepathic message and he couldn't get it. The critical point about Noah is Noah, hear this, had a mega church with 6 members. He had a mega church with 6 members, all of that anointing. He's anointed by God to change the world. And I hope y'all will get this, Marcus. And only 6 people believed him. Nobody else, nobody else saw the vision. I need y'all to go further and notice that his sons helped, but his daughter-in-laws, we have no record of them doing anything. They just went on for a ride. And so some of you get frustrated because you have $1 million idea, a multi-million-dollar concept, but you can't get any support. And so many times Noah could have just drowned in feeling defeated and feeling like a failure, not realizing that if I save these 6, the rest of the world is going to be different. If I can pull these 6 in, everybody else is going to challenge. So and I want to challenge you. This is really this master class. I'm a preacher, so I don't want to preach at you. I want to talk to you. The message board is open. I want you to engage with us. You're going to understand why I have these other 2 gentlemen in just 1 minute. But I want to have a conversation with them, and I'm giving you the opportunity to eavesdrop, and then you can slip a note in the class what you agree, what you disagree with. But this is really a conversation. Let me say to you all going in that neither of them know what I'm talking about. They do not have an outline. They don't even know the title of what I'm dealing with. And then I'm going to bring them in probably in about 7 minutes in for them to get the full breadth of it. I want to talk about, and somebody write it on the screen, I want to talk about today the capitalism of Christmas. The capitalism of Christmas. And I'm telling you, it's getting ready to change your mind. I need a different kind of runway. I'm a 747, not a helicopter. So I need a runway in order to get off. It is amazing. I'm here in Atlanta that there are lines outside of Best Buy. You almost need a ticket to get into Target. The masses are moving, trying to get into Macy's. But you got to know this is getting ready to mess you up. There is no line outside of Zales, no line outside of Tiffany's, and no line outside of K's. The reason why this is important, the reason why this is significant for you to know, is because the generation, millennials, Gen Zs, are getting married later. Now, for you all, log off, stay with me. I'm coming on the capitalism of Christmas. They're getting married later, and the Hartford report suggests that now when young adults between the ages of 35 and 40 get married, they have known the individual who they are marrying or minimal for 5, 6 years. In the previous generation, you knew somebody 18 months and said, this is it, and I want to move forward. You had a year engagement, and then you are sealing the deal. Millennial generations are saying, we want to make sure I've paid off my student loans. I'm clear about what I'm going to do about housing. I got to get out of my parents' house. I need to figure out who you got dwindling in the side. I got to make sure that who I am evolving to be, who I am evolving into, that you can match with that. Mike Murdoch told me something years ago that I want to give to you all free. That is, whatever it is that you are annoyed by, you are called to. Let me give it to you again. Whatever you are annoyed by, you are called to. I got to ask you, this is not for you to write on the screen, this is for you to write in your heart. What is it that you've been doing the last 6 years that you know you can't keep doing the rest of your life? What is it that you have held on to over the last 6 years that you know you cannot commit to? Now, I'm a preacher. I got to throw out scripture, and then I'm gone. Genesis 24. In Genesis 24, Abraham tells one of his staff members, go find a wife for my son. He takes the camels up to the well. I'm hopscotching. I don't want to turn this into Vacation Bible School. He goes out to the well. Camels are at the wells, a young girl, and she feeds the camels water. Feeds the camels water, and then gives the servant water. And the servant says, this is that chick. This is the one. And what does he do? Y'all are not going to believe it, Marcus. He pulls out a gold ring, and he brings her 2 gold bracelets. This is Genesis 24. Mendora, you're not going to believe it. So Genesis 24 is our first record of an engagement ring. We never get out the first book of the Bible without us seeing an engagement ring, and it's gold. Now, stay there. It is amazing then, fast forward, because we're talking about the capitalism of Christmas. If we fast forward now to the book of Matthew, we go to the book of Matthew and we find wise men. And the wise men bring to Jesus 3 gifts. Come on, class. They bring to Jesus 3 gifts. The first one they bring is gold. Now, Monique, I need you to hear this. This is getting ready to help you. Nowhere in the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, nowhere in the Bible do we ever find that there are 3 wise men. But in every Christmas play that you ever seen or you were in, there were 3 wise men. Nowhere does it say there were 3 wise men. I need you all to understand this. Because of the compartmentalization of westernized thought, most people think, I hope y'all will get it, Mendora, it's just me and you in the room. Most people think each wise man can only have 1 gift apiece. I want to suggest to y'all that there are only 2 wise men, and one of them is carrying 2 gifts. The reality is, whatever it is that you've gotten over these last 3 days, hear me, do not limit yourself to 1 gift. You are carrying gold and myrrh. You are carrying frankincense and gold. You got to claim, I've got to have more than 1 gift. In the economy that is getting ready to implode in this transition, it is incumbent upon you that you are making money from more than just one thing. If you are making money in just one area, you are not wise. The reality, most of what it is that I did before 2020 was preaching, teaching, and lecturing around the world. COVID-19 shut down 98% of my engagements. Here it is, y'all. But if I only had 1 gift, I wouldn't be able to eat. If I only had 1 gift, I wouldn't be able to take care of my family. So when it is that that door shut, I had to bring out the myrrh because I understood I had something else that had value and something else that was significant. Now, in all of your days in church, all of your days in Vacation Bible School, your pastor, your bishop, your prophet, your apostle, never told you that the Christmas story is about capitalism and investment. I'm going to mess y'all up. Nowhere when Jesus is born do they have eggnog. Nowhere is there mistletoe. Nowhere is there a tree. But here it is. We've got commerce capitalism. Wise men show up, Marcus, and here's what's crazy. These are wise men, but here we are 2,020 years later, and we can't find one book they've written. They're called wise men, and neither Marcus nor myself can give you one quote of anything they've ever said. They're wise men. I need y'all to watch it. And none of them are tenured professors at the University of Jerusalem. What then, Pastor Bryant, makes them wise? What makes them wise is them understanding the value of long-term investments. And the long-term investment was not for a return on themselves. Preach, Jamal, I'm doing the best I can. They are making the investment, here it is, for generational wealth. That this is not even for them. They're making an investment in a child. Here it is, they can't play with it. So they don't give the baby Legos. They don't give them video games. They don't give them a motorbike. Y'all here with me? They don't give them vans. They give them three commodities for investment. And I only got time to deal with one, and the first one is gold. Right? First one is gold. Gold is so incredible. Here it is, because gold is the global economy. It's the global economy. So if I would leave today and go to Dubai, they're going to take my gold. I go on a missions trip, I got to go to South Africa, they will receive my gold. I'm hard pressed and broke and go to a pawn shop in Compton, they're going to take my gold. It doesn't matter where it is that I am, because it is the global currency. Isn't it amazing? Y'all help me. I got DED. I failed the 11th grade, so I don't remember how many it is, but I think there are 118 minerals on the periodic chart. 118 minerals on the periodic chart, and only one has sustained value. Isn't it amazing that gold has more value in the marketplace than oxygen? I wish I had a church. I don't know where y'all are. Lady Angela, are you in here? Just said something. I want you to know, if there are 118 things you can get, 108 things you can buy, what is that one thing? How has gold maintained its value? Now, I showed you that Hartwell said that the average millennial waits 6 years before they make a commitment. 6 years before they say, this is the one I'm going to marry. 6 years until they say, this is my soulmate. Let me show you, Javon, the wisdom of the wise man. The wise men said, I'm not willing to wait 6 years. Derek, I hope you'll write this down. Take this. I'm going to be the smartest man in the barbershop. The wise man said, I don't want a 6-year investment. I want a 33-year investment. It's going to take 33 years for what I do today for it to mature. Pierre, you got this? Come on. This is Pierre, my black Frenchman. You got to have this. Is it, can I understand that what business I'm doing today, where do I see it in 33 years? In 33 years, will my children be able to take this on? In 33 years, will I still be struggling, waiting for PPE in order for me to be open? In 33 years, will a stimulus check have to sustain me? Or will it be able to work for itself? Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing that they gave them 3 gifts and we never saw them cash out? 3 gifts and we never saw them cash out. I'm upset and I am offended. I need you all to hear this, Rashad. I am offended before y'all call me heretical and treasonous. I am offended at the mind of God. And the reason why I'm offended with the mind of God, if you only got one son and you send him to the earth, why not let him be the son of a king, a governor, a magistrate, a lawyer, or a priest? You let a stuttering murderer named Moses grow up in the White House, but you let your son grow up in a manger. Now, why is this important? Sean, I need you to have this. God said, Jamal, the only reason I did this is because I knew people would be in your master class with Marcus Benjamin 2020 years later. He said, I need y'all to hear this. I know I sent Jesus to be Savior. Here it is. But I wanted him to be the son of an entrepreneur. God mighty. So I let him grow. I let him be the son of a guy with no college education, who's working a blue collar job, who figures out how to work from his hands, who's got to go to neighbors and ask them, do y'all need a chair fixed? You got a table that's imbalanced? You need a roof that needs to be averaged off? Because if I don't get my son to understand the value of entrepreneurship, hear this, he can't save his people. Because only an entrepreneur will know how to save the people. I'm going to jump a few feet ahead, and then I'm going to lecture slide back. It helps me to understand, Lorenzo, why it is that when Jesus went to go, and I teach this everywhere, when Jesus went to go get the disciples, he got no disciples who ever went to seminary. He got no disciples who ever went to Bible college. Jesus, Raymond, picked 12 disciples who were all business owners. Because Jesus was of the mind, if you can't do business, you're not fit for ministry. And as a consequence, Latoya, a whole lot of black churches are flunking and dying because we make people leaders in church for perfect attendance and not for proficiency. So we let people be on the trustee board because they can pray, not because they know how to make books. Are y'all still here? We make people deacons because they pull together the fishing trip, but because they don't know how to do long-term investments. So you make people the head in the church who have no business acumen. And as a consequence, the church is out of order and it does not follow the Jesus model. So stay with me. They drop off the gold. And that's the only principle I'm dealing with today, Alan. They drop off the gold, and when they drop off the gold, you do understand that it took them 2 years to get there. Jesus is already two. When he leaves out of there, Marcus knows the Bible better than me. They go hide out in Egypt. Now, the reason why this is significant, because your pastor never gave it to you. I'm going to be your pastor today. Hear this. The reason why this is significant, they got to go hide in Egypt. I think I lost y'all. Rashad, are you there? They got to go hide in Egypt, but they're from the Roman Empire. They got to go to Bethlehem for taxes. They cross over lines into another place, Egypt, where they go hide for another 2 years. Pierre, are you still there? Listen to me. So nobody is asking because they didn't know they were going to be on risk. They didn't know they'd be in threat. They didn't know it'd be the Trump administration. If they get caught, Jesus would be in a cage. They didn't know what was going to happen. So what happens? They go to another country, and how, Marcus, do they live for 2 years when it is that there's a contract out on their life? They got gold. So when the crisis comes, they're not trying to figure out how they're going to sustain themselves because they got the gold already that was planted into them for their children for that season of crisis. Why is gold so important? Gold is important, here it is, because it travels well. Raymond, I need you to put this in the notes. It travels well. The question I got to ask you as entrepreneurs, you're watching me from Maryland, from Michigan, from Minneapolis, from Mississippi, from Miami. I got to ask you this. If in fact Donald Trump did not concede power on January 20th, if there is a quasi coup, if the Department of Defense realizes it got to go a different way, if you are forced to move to another city in the first quarter of the year, can you still do your business? Y'all just missed it. If in fact you got to go back home, mama got sick, daddy got dementia, your in-law is getting old, can you move and still do your job? That's a solid gold idea. Amazing thing about what COVID has taught me as a pastor. I pastor one of the largest black churches in America, but because of COVID, I ain't got to be in Atlanta to pastor. I can be anywhere. You got to have a solid gold idea that travels. All right. Number two, about gold is amazing thing. Do you understand that the metallic worth and weight of silver and gold is the exact same? But gold is 50 times more valuable than silver. I hope, Angela, you're going to receive this, because unlike silver, gold doesn't have to be polished. Got to, Mike. Listen to me. Can you do your work without affirmation? If nobody is going to help you shine, can you still do it? If nobody is dusting you off, do you still got your head in the game to say, I understand who I am, what I bring to the table? It is. Even while I haven't been able to get my nails done. Even because I'm under financial crisis and I got to wrap my hair. Y'all ain't saying nothing. I'm I'm curling my hair myself. I got burn marks on my neck, but my gold is still shining. Can you shine with no attention? All right. The valuable thing about gold, that they put the stamp on the gold. Hear this, Nikisha. They put the stamp on the gold of value, whether it's 18, 14, or 24 karat gold. Tama, you got to hear this. It's predicated on how much fire it can endure. If it can't endure much fire, you pull it out fast. That's 18. But if it can stay in fire and not lose who it is or what it's supposed to do, it's 24 karat gold. I am looking for you to produce the kind of entrepreneurial idea that can stay in fire. What does that mean? 12 million Americans still have not received their stimulus check. The day after Christmas, December 26th, 45 million people will have their unemployment check cut off. Are you hearing me? In 1950, half of the American population was married. In 2020, 65% of the population is single. If no help comes, if you never get the support, will you still hold on to that idea in the fire? Will you stand on it? Even if, in fact, you got to put some other things on hold because you're trying to figure out how to pay tuition for your child. You're trying to figure out how you're not going to lose the car and park it around the corner. How it is you're not going to get evicted. You tired of being in that townhouse with no furniture. All you got is a pull-out couch, a flat screen, and a futon. Can you hold on to it even when everything else is falling apart? They drop them off the gold. Here it is. And nowhere, Felicia, can I find any scriptural evidence of Jesus ever having any. Nowhere do I find them without any. The IRS come to one of Jesus's lieutenants and says, hey, is he going to pay taxes on this? And what's crazy, y'all, is of the 3 years of Jesus' ministry, I have no evidence of him ever raising an offering. Did you hear what I just said? Not one time did Jesus ever raise an offering. And they asked, is he going to pay taxes on this? On what, Nakia? On that gold he been getting interest from for 30 years. I got to ask y'all something critical. Can you trust God that God is going to be able to bless you? I hope you'll be able to receive this star to live off your interest. Can you believe that you can live at a place of interest? Star, it's just me and you. You all I got. Listen to me. Isn't it amazing? When Jesus called the 12 disciples, none of them shut their business down. None of them shut their business down. They were able to walk away and let the business run 3 years in their absence. Jamal, you got to back that thing up. You got to prove that thing to me. Because remember, when Jesus got arrested, the disciples said, let's go back to the office. They didn't say, let's go start a new business. That business was running without them ever being there. That's what Mandora, you've been with me all day, is I am believing that your entrepreneurial idea is going to be so solid gold that, hear this, Garcia, I want your entrepreneurial idea to be so solid gold. Rashad, I hope you get it. It's only me and you, Monique, that you don't even have to run it. God almighty. I want your business to be so that you don't even have to run it. Sister Rivers, I got to tell you this. I am an idea guy. I'm an idea guy. I don't have the mind for day-to-day operations. I get dizzy and sleepy looking at the books. All I want to know is the bottom line. I can just throw out concept. That's why they say the devil is in the details. I want you to be able to move into something where you don't even have to give it oversight. You don't even have to pay it any attention. Here's what's crazy, y'all. We've got to disavow my call into ministry was the liberation of knowing. Here it is. That you can do business. Regina, hope you'll write this down. Don't leave me out here. That you can do business, Lady Angela, in something you don't have passion for. Jesus. So did you hear what I just said? I want you to be able to do business in something you don't have passion for. That you understand this ain't even what I like. This ain't even my calling. This ain't even natural to me. But I'm going to keep bringing in the donuts. Okay? So watch this. A few weeks ago, Paula White talked about she wanted African angels to come to come save the election for Donald Trump. I said, you know what? Seriously, Mark, this is what I said. This was just 4 weeks ago. I said, I did a teaching on it. It went viral. 500,000 people watched the video. So let me do a T-shirt that said "No African Angels." I'm not in the T-shirt business. I'm not in the print business. I don't have the mind for it. I partnered with a minority-owned company that said, "Look, I ain't got time to mail nobody no T-shirts. I don't even know where to go buy them by bulk. I don't have no print thing in my basement. How can I do it?" They told me how to do it. I came into a limited partnership agreement with them. And Marcus, in 2 weeks, I sold 2,500 T-shirts. That's not my passion, but I want the profit. I wanted the money from it. Do this one long term because it's a short story. People got AD. Ain't nobody thinking about it. So I made up in my mind, Marcus. I made up in my mind. Watch this. This is I made up in my mind. Whatever is my profit from No African Angels sweatshirts and T-shirts, hear this, that's my Christmas budget. Whatever it is that I make from that, that's all that I'm spending here because I didn't see it coming in. It's very limited. And then once the inauguration is over, I'm gonna do another run of them right before the inauguration, sell another 4,000. Say everybody's come to the inauguration, wear my sweatshirt and meet me there. Now, once I finish that, I'm done because I understand that limited. Now, you gotta make sure what am I doing that stays in my profit margin that doesn't necessarily have to be my passion, but it's natural to my brand and what it is that I'm called to. I got to give you this, Felicia, and then I'm gone. I'm going to talk to Marcus, and I'm finished. Here's what's amazing. The wise men traveled 2 years just to get to that manger. It was crazy. Jesus is 2 years old, and Felicia, I got no evidence of Jesus ever telling the wise men thank you. That they made a life-changing investment, traveled out of their way with inconvenience, and never got thanked. Entrepreneurs who are in this masterclass, you are in a thankless position. A lot of people don't appreciate your hard work, don't understand your sacrifice, don't know what it is you had to give up, what you walked away from, how many nights you had to stay up, how many days you woke up, how you were daydreaming in the car, how you were doodling stuff on the back of napkins and Chick-fil-A. They got no idea. So I wanted to pause just to say thank you for not giving up and still maintaining that what you have is a solid gold idea. Marcus, thank you for having me, sir.
So you're just gonna drop the mic like that?
No. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Listen, sir, I can't tell you the number of, just eye-opening, confirming, and I'm sharing eye-opening, confirming because we're talking about the masterclass, and you repeated several things from the masterclass. And one of the things I'm just going to zero in on, we talked about the 3 levels of the entrepreneurial journey. We talked about the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur, and how most people never get to the entrepreneur level because they're using their business as a way of giving therapy to their own trauma. So rather than them being able to step away from it, delegate, administrate, and have other people do the work, they cannot do that because they are too involved in the therapy of doing that business themselves. And how you have to be able to disconnect yourself from the passion of it and move over into the management of it and have other people. It's just, so many things we can talk about along those lines. But what I wanted you to reiterate at the beginning, you made a statement about crisis for the creative.
Yep.
Crisis is for the creative. Could you just take about a minute or so and just revisit that thought?
Yes. So the reality is my favorite animal, and I want you all to write this down. I found this up from my predecessor, Bishop Long gave me this years ago that I want you all to have. The rhinoceros is the only animal in the animal kingdom who does not have the capacity to go backwards. The rhinoceros is challenged that it cannot move backwards. You got to understand that in crisis, you're pushed into a place where you can't go back. That this has got to produce something out of you that you had never seen before. Can you imagine? The reality is much of what you found out about yourself, you found out in this COVID. A lot of people getting ready to go through divorce. They figured out who they can live with. A whole lot of people are reevaluating their circle because they realize they're contaminated with negativity. Those of you who grew up in the projects, somehow or another, big mama, grandma was cooking food, and people from the neighborhood would come by, and she would feed them too. Y'all get mad. Why they got to? And grandma, those of y'all who are in the hood, grandma used to say, don't count other people's food. Because it was always enough for you to do it. You got to figure out, is this crisis making me more creative? I'm telling you, when you are broke, you are always in a bad mood. When you ain't got no money, you are irritable. You know, Eric B. and Rakim said, thinking of a master plan. You understand? You got to be in that place. I'm trying to figure out, what am I going to do? How am I going to process? How am I going to navigate through this space? So as a pastor, I got a sanctuary that holds almost 7,000 people, and I can't get in it because of COVID. So I had to figure out how it is that we innovatively do ministry out of place. And that's where we are in this season.
You know, I bring that up because we talked about the entrepreneurial endeavor and how it's a necessity for the engagement to happen between the left brain and the right brain.
Yes.
And there's some of us, we learn how to live in the left brain, the logical, the rational, the analytical, and then others flourish in the right brain, the creative, the extemporaneous, the abstract, etc. But if we're going to be successful in business, it takes a merger. It takes a merger of the left and the right brain. And quite honestly, when I hear you teach, preach, engage in social justice issues, when I see you engaging in issues where social commentary, cultural commentary is a necessity, I'm telling you, Pastor Bryant, that's what I see most profoundly, is the ability to vacillate back and forth very quickly between the left brain and the right brain. And that happens over a sustained period of time. That happens by going through crisis after crisis after crisis and learning how to manage both worlds. So
well, it is, Marcus, it is when people talk about being ambidextrous, they talk about hands and not head. And so most often than not, we think about you're an athlete being ambidextrous. Can I shoot with my left and my right? Can I dribble with my right and my left? But to be an entrepreneur, you have got to have controlled bipolar order, not bipolar disorder. You got to have bipolar order, that I got to use both sides of my mind. So I have the benefit, Marcus, of having a doctorate degree and having a GED. So when I speak, both parts of that come out. You know, I am Good Times and the Cosby Show. You got me? I am Empire and Power. Both of those is in my head. So you got to realize how is it that I understand Gil Scott Heron and Wayne. Both of those are in my rotation. So you got to pull all of that out of your head in order for you to move. Marcus, I got to go, but thank you so very much. I appreciate you for having me, Doc. It's been a joy and a privilege.
Sir, it's been my joy and privilege. We will talk later. Thank you for your time and your investment. I appreciate it, sir.
And thank all of you for hanging out with us, for being interactive. Do me a favor. This is the only class that you will ever hear. Let somebody else cheat on your paper. Let somebody else know what you wrote down, what you experienced. So it'll be a blessing. Marks, I'll talk to you soon.